Okay, it looks like we're ready to start. This is the Independent Producers Organization live showcase. And we have a 2-hour show today. Might as well mention the first part is a call-in from CAPS, Californians for Population Stabilization in California. He's calling in from there for the first hour. Second hour will be people running for the school board. Again, our first speaker who we do have on the line right now is Rick Oberlink. He's active in environmental issues since high school, graduated from the University of Illinois with a major in political science and a minor in environmental studies, and the UC Berkeley School of Law, where his studies included a clinical semester with the Sierra Club Local Defense Fund. An Army veteran and a former attorney in private practice, he is past Executive Director of Californians for Population Stabilization, for whom he continues to provide legislative and environmental analysis. His op-eds have been published in various media, including Los Angeles Times, San Francisco Chronicle, and Philadelphia Inquirer. He has appeared on NPR, CNN, and PBS NewsHour, and he has testified before the California legislature numerous times. In his free time, he bicycles with his dog or both. So, welcome to the show, Rick.
Well, good evening, Richard. Glad to be here.
Okay. Are we able to hear him as well as we can, or?
How do you hear us, Rich?
Yeah, are you hearing us all right?
I'm fine. I can hear you loud and clear.
Now you're perfect.
Good, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sounds good. We can hear too.
Do you want to tell us, go ahead, and unless you want to, I've already covered you a little bit, unless you wanted to tell us a little more about yourself.
No, that's plenty about me.
About how things have changed since Trump has gotten in and how he's might have affected the...
Well, it's still very early, of course. What we're already seeing is that the number of apprehensions at the border from illegal crossers at the southern border is way down, even though there hasn't been any change in law, even though the increases in the Border Patrol that he has proposed have not taken place yet, and even though there has been no new infrastructure in terms of fencing or border wall. So just by making it clear that there's a change in policy, that it is not all right to break our immigration laws and come here, there has been a significant reduction of people trying to come. So that's something that has occurred without any major expense, any major change.
Okay. Say, I wanted to ask you, while I think about it, about they keep talking about a wall, and I'm thinking, wait, why don't they just have a fence with barbed wire? I don't care, as high as the other fence was going to be, and not have it be so expensive. Just
right.
Metal piping and whatever.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be maybe a tough political call for Trump to make, because the border wall was such an important part of the campaign. Mm-hmm. And as a symbol, of course, it's very important to say that illegal immigration is not acceptable. But in terms of expense, in terms of things that we can do to deter illegal immigration, it probably doesn't make sense to build a wall, and especially for the entire border, because, like you say, it would be very expensive. Now, we should go back and remember that both then Senator Obama and then Senator Hillary Clinton voted for the Secure Borders Act of 2006, which called for a significant increase in fencing along the border, I think an additional 750 miles. So, and that passed the Senate, but then the funds were never appropriated to carry it out. And what they called for was double fencing. So yeah, a single fence it's going to be possible to climb over it, to cut through it if you spend enough effort. But if you have a double fence, you're in this, nobody's zone in between the two while you try the second time. In the meantime, we have sensors, we could have drones, we could have various things. So a secure double fence will along the key crossing areas would be very important, and of course cost a lot less money than a wall. But the other thing is, what has lured people to come here has been the lack of enforcement and the idea that illegal aliens can get jobs here. And so we would like to see at CAPS, we would like to see a much bigger focus on E-Verify. And if you come here and you can't get a job, then you're going to go back, or you're not going to come in the first place. And that's part of what we're seeing now, just with the change in policy, the reduced numbers. People figure they're more likely to get caught and get deported. They're less likely to get a job. But for your listeners who don't know, I mean, the E-Verify system is something where employers can go on the computer, set up an account with the federal government, and enter the names and Social Security numbers and information on a new employee to see if he or she is legally authorized to work here. And I mean, a lot of employers have done it voluntarily. Some states have required those who contract with the state to use the E-Verify system, and it's the bugs have been worked out. It's generally a very good system, and so we'd like to see a lot more emphasis. And we would like to see that made mandatory for all employers to use this system. It's a lot less work than all the paperwork with the I-9 forms, and it's more effective. And that would do a great job, do a great deal to deterring illegal immigration.
Okay.
Rick, will you possibly maybe spend a couple minutes on how did the whole issue of the illegal immigration and the lackadaisy, if you will, of allowing folks to come here illegally, where did that start? Was that with the Democrats or the Republicans, and who in those parties actually brought that issue to the table?
Well, it sort of goes back and forth, but a good starting place in terms of examination is to look at a law passed in 1986, an Immigration Act. And it was called a Grand Compromise. And the idea was that there would be an amnesty for those who came before 1986, but from then on we would enforce the law. We would have sanctions against employers. There would be tough penalties for employers who hired people illegally. Well, of this Grand Compromise, we only got the first half. There was an amnesty for 3 million people here illegally, but the same people who think we should enforce our laws against illegal immigration then try to prevent the enforcement of the penalties against employers, so there was no enforcement. And so that's really, a good starting point in terms of our current problem.
What presidency?
It was during the Reagan administration, but he signed it. It was passed with support from both parties. Even a lot of people who were against illegal immigration thought, well, this is the best we can do. Let's have this compromise. So in the meantime, because we didn't enforce the laws, the illegal alien population has gone from 3 million to 11 or 12 million now. And so that's why it makes no sense to have another compromise that includes an amnesty, which is what was proposed with the Gang of Eight bill. The Comprehensive Immigration Reform was the title that was stuck on it. So yes, we're going to do some increased border enforcement. We're going to maybe have mandatory E-Verify, but again, we're going to have another amnesty, this time for 11 or 12 million who are already here. Well, we tried this compromise once. We had the amnesty, and it didn't work without the enforcement. So whether or not we ever have another amnesty, and then we can talk about that, it would make no sense to discuss it until we actually have enforcement. We need to do enforcement first before we consider any other type of amnesty, if we do it all. And in the meantime, there have been several smaller amnesties of things where I believe Nicaraguans had a temporary protected status, but then eventually they let all of those stay. There have been half a dozen of those where the numbers have added up. Excuse me. But remember, we're talking, 11 million people is a huge number. That's like, a couple of small countries that could be in that could be within the United States illegally. So it's very important that we get the enforcement right, that we reduce the lure of jobs, that we have significant border enforcement, and that must come first.
Okay, so the Republicans were the one that actually initiated the first amnesty. Is that what you're saying, under Reagan, right?
No, I mean it was passed by a bipartisan vote in Congress.
But who was
Reagan
president
was in
at the
office,
time?
And he did sign it.
Oh, he
But
signed
that
it.
was so it's not. I don't think that's fair to blame Reagan or the Republicans at that time, because everybody said they worked it out. They thought this is the best deal we could get, and so if we had actually, those people who got that amnesty, they're still here. The other thing to remember about an amnesty is once you make some people legal, then because we have a policy that promotes the primary policy with legal immigration is family reunification, then they're entitled to bring their relatives over. So when you talk about giving legal status to 11 million people, it's not just 11 million. Then they're eligible to bring relatives, so the number is much bigger than that. And we should also, CAPS believes we should get away from family reunification as the driver of our legal immigration policy. We can talk about that if you want, but that's the way we see it. Somebody has characterized it as amnesty begets more amnesty. Because if you're here legally, if you've been thinking about coming here illegally, and you have relatives, you have siblings, then they get legal status, then you're going to come and stay with them, even if you have to come illegally while you look for work and so on. And so each time you have an amnesty, more people are encouraged to come. And plus, they figure if the United States has another amnesty, they'll probably have a third one or a fourth one in the future. So amnesties not only reward people who broke the law, but they encourage additional illegal immigration. I mean, that's what we saw to some extent with the border surge of Central Americans, with a lot of Central American children under the Obama administration. I mean, people would say, well, they're fleeing violence in countries like Honduras and El Salvador. And yes, there is a lot of violence and there is a lot of crime. But those numbers had been high for a long time. They hadn't gone up. They were either stable or coming down slightly. Guatemalan ambassador said, well, these are just people seeking the American dream. So why did this surge take off all of a sudden? Well, it was because of Obama's DACA amnesty, that his sort of administrative amnesty, that we're not going to deport any kids who sign up for this program. So that partial amnesty encouraged more people to come. And so that's why we say amnesty begets more amnesty. It just encourages illegal immigration.
Can you turn the sound up in there just a little bit?
There's an echo, I think, coming in.
Oh, that's when he talks. Okay. That's
Okay.
probably.
Just bear with us, Rick.
Well, you
Sure.
through. I'm ready with a question.
Yeah, go on.
You know, when they first get here, the thing that I always wonder, do they go running to their attorney that specializes in that, or what do people do that get across here and want to start? I don't know what it is. I've had the occasion to go out to the Social Security office, and it's just filled with other people from Mexico or whatever, and I just can't quite figure that out. I wonder why they must spend a lot of time trying to become legal and go to people that can help them become legal.
Well, it probably varies a fair amount. I mean, if they, some of them, don't want to be apprehended, and so if they come here, they may work under the table. I mean, a lot of, because there are connections, because the numbers are so huge, a lot of them may already have a job lined up before they cross the border. I mean, They know they can work in restaurants, they have relatives and so on. But with the case of the border surge from Central America, because U.S. law says that we don't immediately return minors, those people weren't trying to avoid apprehension. They would go straight to the Border Patrol and turn themselves in because the law says they can't be returned without a hearing and so on. The other thing is we have, unfortunately, what is sometimes termed a catch and release policy. I mean, generally people are not held. They're released into the community. They're told to come back for a hearing. A lot of them never show up again. So so they're into the system until we go find them. Others will, if they are caught and tried to be deported, some of them will get attorneys. There's actually legislation making its way through California now, where the state, if this legislation passes, the state is going to hire attorneys to keep people from being deported. It's going to be a government expense. It's going to be a taxpayer expense. There are some other states that I believe are trying to do the same thing. So it's a big mess. There are a lot of ways to try. It takes a long time to wind its way through courts. Now, on the other hand, I should say at the other end of the spectrum, some people, when they cross the border, they're caught right away, and they sign an agreement saying that they will be returned right away. And because if they're processed, if they call it a second time, the penalties are significantly increased. They could go to jail for that. So a lot of people will just voluntarily return if they're caught at the border region.
But all due respect, the policies that were brought up that has allowed us to get into this particular mess. Someone signed something. Someone introduced something.
Kennedy. Was it Ted Kennedy, right? 1985.
Well, to some extent, yeah. I mean, there was an immigration law passed back in 1965, but that had to do mostly with legal immigration. So it greatly increased the number of legal immigrants. And there is, as part of that legislation, for instance, there was called a diversity lottery, and Kennedy stuck this in so it would make it easier for Irish to come here, as if we don't have enough Irish in the country.
Oh, okay.
Really?
And so now, and then the rules for that lottery have changed because it depends how many people have come from that country recently, and so it's changed from year to year.
Right.
So one year the biggest recipient was Bangladesh, and another year it was somebody, it'd be somebody else, and that serves. It's about 40,000 visas a year, about 50,000, and that gives you an idea of just how silly immigration policy has become.
Yeah. That
your only qualification for coming to America is we draw your number out of a hat. We don't ask, do you have anything, can you help our country? It has nothing to do with refugees. Are you fleeing persecution? It's just like, it's a lottery. Let's see what happens. So we would certainly like to see that diversity lottery, as it's called, removed from legal immigration policy. But if you go back to the 1965 legislation, now it did some good things. It said that we shouldn't discriminate on the basis of race or national origin or anything like that, and certainly we support that. But when you look at the testimony of Kennedy and others, he said, well, it's not going to increase the numbers. The overall numbers are going to stay about the same. But in fact, they didn't. They went way up. And what we would like to see at CAPS is a return to more traditional levels of immigration. I mean, if you look at the majority of the last century, or if you look at immigration from a historical perspective, there have been waves of immigration, and there was a very high wave around the 1900s. There had been a previous smaller wave before then. But the term wave implies that there's a high level and then a low level. And what happens if you have a low level after this high level is that it gives the country a chance to have some breathing space. It gives people a chance to assimilate. Because obviously we have an influx of a lot of people, a lot of kids. You need new schools, you need new hospitals, you need new expenses. So after this big wave in the early 1900s, we had very low immigration for a while. partly to do with the Depression, other things. But if you look at the portion, say, from 1920 to 1970, and 70 is about when this 1965 immigration law kicked in. I mean, immigration during that period averaged only about 200,000, somewhere between 200 and 300,000 a year. That's sort of a traditional level. After the 1965 law, the numbers just went up and up until for the last 15 years, 2 decades, we've been absorbing 1 million people a year, and that's just legal immigration. That's not talking about the illegal flows, which sort of go back and forth depending on policy and economics. So we're taking in 5 times as many people legally as our traditional immigration levels, and that adds up. It makes places crowded. It consumes open space. It makes the schools crowded. It makes it tough to provide medical care to everybody. So that's some of an underlying concern at Californians for Population Stabilization. There are a lot of problems one might find with immigration, but among other things, it contributes so much to population growth, to an overuse of resources. It makes it more crowded, and it lessens the quality of life for people who were born here, or even for people who came here legally. They can't go on forever.
People aren't aware, but they don't see, aren't really aware that we are going to run out of oil soon, and it's really going to have a huge effect on humans. Everybody around here has a car. Sooner or later, won't go anywhere. There's no more gas.
Well, I'll just give an example. I mean, I've been involved in environmental issues for a long time, and some of us are old enough to remember the first Earth Day back in 1970, and go way back then. And everybody then was talking about population growth, and you don't hear that as much anymore. But in 1970, the U.S. population was 203 million. Okay, now it's 325 million.
Right.
So it's over 50% higher just in the last 4 or 5 decades, and obviously that has a big impact on the environment. And we have to, realize, and most of that population increase, 72 million in fact, was due to immigration, the immigrants and their descendants. And according to projections from the Pew Research Center, from 2015 to 2065, we're going to gain 103 million people. And 88% of that growth is due to immigration, immigrants and their children.
That's right.
So it's back at that first Earth Day, at that time, most of our population growth was still what we call natural increase, more people being born than are dying. But that's no longer the case. Now most of our population increase is from immigration.
Right.
And all countries where you hear the cliche, well, we're a nation of immigrants, and we are. But so is everybody else in the world. If you look at some particular period of history, people immigrated to Europe out of Africa tens of thousands of years ago. I mean, there is no one on the planet who can trace his or her ancestry all the way back to within the confines of the current nation state. People have migrated, but it made sense when the United States was founded. It was not very densely populated. It was a new country. So, of course, people came over primarily from Europe at first, then from other places. But we are no longer a land where you can go west and get 40 acres and start your own farm and get a mule and go homesteading. So we have to realize that now we're an industrialized, crowded country, and I can understand that it's great that we've built a nation that people want to come here, but that doesn't mean everybody gets to come here. There are over 7 billion people on the planet, and they can't all move to the United States. And moreover, this is what we sometimes call misguided compassion. It's much more expensive to make life better for one family here. If you take that amount of money, it would do much better elsewhere. The idea that we can, help things in Syria by absorbing, 10,000 refugees here, it takes a lot less money the same amount of money would support a great number of people in a refugee camp close to their homes, so that if things can improve, they can go back to their homes. So refugees should be cared for near their home countries, with the idea that refuge, it means temporary shelter, so when things get better, you go back and improve. And it costs a lot of money to settle refugees in the United States. It's much more expensive than it takes the UN to look after somebody in a refugee camp.
One of the things I'd like to ask you, and from my observation, is that back when here, I'm Bruce Broussard, and I used to...
By the way, my co-host is Bruce Broussard.
How you doing,
he
Rick?
ran for mayor here.
Yes.
And I'm Richard Carpenter, and I don't think I've said anything about that at all. Now go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, look here. I came to Oregon, i.e. Portland, Oregon, as a Marine recruiter from Vietnam. Okay, got me. And but as part and parcel of my career, I used to be a publisher. At one point in time, I was publisher of the Portland Observer newspaper. It's an African American newspaper here in the Portland metropolitan area. And during that particular time, I had the opportunity to meet Cesar Chavez. And he was a Mexican labor union person. He was fighting for the rights, if you will, of living conditions of Mexicans that were coming here just to pick up the farms and this, that, and the other. But he was working for, and at the same time, he was not for illegal immigration.
Oh, okay.
He was not for it. I mean, my point is that he was just making sure that he was fighting for the conditions, because they would bring Mexicans from across the border. Okay, they would transport them here, but they were living horribly. So he was fighting to make sure that they had good conditions, if you will, medical, maybe get better pay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But in all due respect, the farmers didn't like that idea.
No, it's just too expensive.
That, Bruce, because people, a lot of the immigration rights people today sort of forget the history of Chavez.
That's right.
In fact, he said he would take the farm workers, his union, and he offered to assist the Border Patrol in apprehending people. He was very much against illegal immigration because it would drive down wages. That was the whole point, an excess supply of labor, lower wages, pay them under the table. So he wanted, good wages for hard work, and so do we. And so we agree with you and Chavez on that point.
And in all due respect, some of the unions didn't like him either.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that something? Because they thought they was basically bettering their lives, better, blah, 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 that would be more competitive. And so, in all due respect, a lot of times I look at it from the standpoint, you can't blame them. The program was already there, if you will, to basically bring workers in this country, that Americans didn't want to work, didn't want to do.
Right.
So they were doing the work.
That old thing.
Then we went through that whole business about Americans that they're now doing work that Americans don't want to do aspect of it. There were some issues there, but the bottom line is that you ask yourself the question when you go down to the Department of Labor or the Employment Division, you say, well, look here, can you give me a listing of the jobs that Americans don't want to work? I say, what are you talking about? Well, we went through that. And then the other deal is about encouraging these folks once they come here. I mean, everywhere you go, there's Spanish signs all over the buses and this, that, and the other. And I'm sitting there saying, how many cultures do we have here in this country? Maybe 100? I mean, you don't see Russian and Japanese and Swahili and this, that, and the other. And
they're starting.
Here these folks, they're very Catholic oriented, very family oriented, and we're basically just bringing them in by the grove, if you will. And like you said, they're living with other folks who are already here, who are citizens and whatever. And you don't hear anybody crying, if you will, in all due respect, even Mexican Americans, because in all due respect, these are family members. They don't get into the politics of this immigration piece. The only thing they're looking at from the standpoint is that, hey, look here, just go on and give us, this is a free country and this, that, and the other, and not educating folks about the fact you have to have laws. When you break the law, this is what happened. But we've just forgotten about it, and now we've gotten in this big mess, and everybody's pointing the fingers at everybody else, but not knowing who in the hell did the deal. And point blank, they can just look at themselves in the mirror and say they're the ones that problem.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing that out, Rick.
Didn't Eisenhower send a bunch of people that came across the border back a long time ago?
So occasionally you see a political button somebody's wearing, like I like Ike, the last president to enforce our border law. So they did. There was a program there where they, where many people were returned. I think the numbers were much smaller. It would be a much bigger problem today. But coming back to this issue that Bruce brought up about Americans won't do these jobs. You sometimes wonder how we ever built this country, because when it comes to less skilled jobs, the immigration rights folks will say, well, Americans are too lazy to do this work. And then when it comes to high-tech jobs, they're like, well, Americans are too dumb to do this work. We have to bring in people on H-1B visas and educated people from other countries, and so you have to wonder, well, how did America ever get to be the country it was if we were too lazy to work and too stupid to work? But so the fact is, you should pay people a decent wage, and Americans will do the job.
Yes.
And so the whole idea of massive immigration, a lot of it gets support from employers because they want to keep wages down.
Yep.
You can actually look back to there was sort of a well-known speech by Booker T. Washington that was sort of against the immigration at the time. It was called "Cast Down Your Bucket" was the name of the speech, and he would tell a story about a sailor, a captain with his ship on the ocean, and they were out of fresh water, and he signaled to another passing ship, we're out of water, and they signaled back, cast down your bucket. And he said, well, this is salt water, what could it be? And so they exchanged a couple of times, and finally put a bucket down, and they were at the mouth of the Amazon where it was fresh water. But the river's so big they didn't even know they were in fresh water. And so Booker T. Washington would make a speech, this is what we need to do when industrialists say that we need labor. We don't need to import these millions of people from Europe. Cast down your bucket. Use the African Americans, the poor Americans who don't have work, and let's hire them and do the jobs. And so, you need to pay a decent wage. Some wages will go up, but then you won't be paying as much for welfare services and so on. Unemployment will be lower, and so hire Americans first.
Yes.
Americans are hard workers. Americans are smart workers. That's how we built this country.
Can I tell one story about Del Monte here? This happened years ago, and I think it happened just when Obama was his early days. Had about 120 people. The ICE came in, cleaned them all out, and within a few days, regular Americans went and applied and started working there. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that.
What about the berries? Remember the strawberries? How the kids used to pick the strawberries?
Oh,
when they were ready to harvest aspect of it. And then guess what happened to the Oregon legislature? Those folks got together and said, well, the farmers said, hey, look, we don't want the kids anymore picking up, because they were getting monies, if you will, for their school clothing and parents to be out there. It was a good deal. They got rid of the kids out of the berry farm.
Yeah, you hear this. People say, well, if we didn't have immigrants, like lettuce would cost $5 a head or something.
Right.
But if you actually look at it, because this is the groceries, food's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So they've studied it, and they know how much it costs to pick lettuce and how much it costs to put a can on the shelf and so on.
Exactly.
And it turns out fresh produce, the amount of labor, and this is not all your groceries, just your fresh fruit and vegetables, it's only about 6% is due to agricultural labor. So you could add there's a study done by an agriculture economist at UC Davis here in California, and so they figured, looking at the certain tables, that you could increase wages by 40% in the agriculture sector, enough to bring in native-born Americans. That would only cost the average household, not person, the average household of a few people, something like about $30 a year in extra for produce, which probably means Americans aren't eating enough fresh produce. But the point is, it's not going to cost that much money.
That's right.
And they think about Australia as a rich country. It grows a lot of food. They don't have an illegal workforce to pick them.
Nope.
And plus, they're more automated, which is another thing. What happened with the tomatoes in California back in the 60s, they said nobody will pick tomatoes. Instead, they developed machines. If you buy an Australian wine or a French wine, it's likely those grapes were picked by machine. You buy a California wine or Oregon wine, they were picked by people. So we're sort of retarding automation by having this cheap, unauthorized workforce.
Well, now you've pretty well gone real back in history. I call it the Civil War.
Okay. Okay.
okay. But no, you're right. We've gotten ourselves in the midst, and I think the population as a whole in this country. That's why you hear things about we're just tired of this whole Congress, if you will. We need to clean the swamp and get rid of all these folks. So my thing, it all gets down to the point: follow the money.
Anyway, Rick.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about a little bit about what you did in the legal things to do with immigration. A little more what you do.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. Well, what I do now with CAPS is a lot of it is legislative analysis, looking at the legislation that's in both California and federal level, and sort of helping with, we send out alerts to our members asking them to contact Congress. So that's part of it, keeping up on what's going on. There's been a number of developments you've seen with Trump's executive orders, fights in court about them. Just to take as an example, you've heard of the sanctuary cities and sanctuary states.
Oh, yeah.
And just as a way of two different extremes. So Trump issued an executive orders saying he might cut off funding for that, and there's been a preliminary injunction against that as to, so that hasn't been resolved yet. That'll work its way through the courts. But even that ruling at the lower level didn't say that he wouldn't be able to do it for law enforcement funding. I mean, there is a federal law that says it's illegal to prohibit officers from passing on immigration information to ICE. To ICE.
Right.
So it may be the courts will hold that the federal government can't cut off general funds. But over time, a lot of grants are made to local offices with federal dollars, and so they can impose conditions, and so either you sign up to these agreements or you don't. And so over time, it will be possible to turn up the screws in terms of what the federal government can do. Maybe not for everything, but certainly for law enforcement funds. And as a way, like the DOJ, the Department of Justice grants $2 billion each year to localities for anti-crime programs. So it's quite likely that the federal government will be able to have something to do with those funds. In terms of looking at what's happening with sanctuary, we can see two opposite extremes, like Texas just passed a law requiring its localities, or rather prohibiting the localities from becoming sanctuary cities, and actually imposing fines if law enforcement officers refuse to provide information to ICE, refuse to honor immigration detainers, which is a request from ICE, the federal government, for a local jail or local sheriff to hold someone until federal agents get a chance to interview them and see what the status is. Someone who is clearly already an immigrant. And California now is going the other way. There's legislation working its way through Sacramento, which would prohibit local officials, officers, and so on, the boots on the ground, from sharing information with the federal government. So we're likely to see some more fights about that. But you can see how this is getting a complicated. States are going different directions. There's a sheriff in Kern County says, "Oh, wait a minute, I have to do what the feds say. I don't get caught in the middle." So you have California resisting the Trump movement, then you have a local sheriff resisting California. So it could be interesting. But I should remind your listeners that an immigration detainer, that's what the ICE asked to do with the Kate Steinle murder that you've probably heard of, that happened in San Francisco, where there was an illegal alien in the county jail, had, if I remember right, 5 felony convictions and 7 deportations, or maybe it was 7 felonies and 5 deportations. And I said, well, hold this guy, and the sheriff refused to do it, turns out, and then apparently murdered a woman right on the streets, broad daylight. And so there have been a number of other incidents like that. People who have multiple convictions, multiple deportations, and local authorities release them. And then it gets into the bigger question: why, why has somebody been deported 5 times? Why isn't that person in jail or something after that? But there are a lot of issues there. But certainly there's some very just horrific instances of people being released and then violent, serious crimes being committed.
Wow, Rick. As I hear you, I might ask you this question: what does Rick think about in terms of the solution to this whole problem? I mean, it's crazy.
Okay.
I hate to put you in that mix, but what do you think? Where are we going? What direction are we going? And is there a solution at the end of the wall?
Right.
Well, there are a number of things. We haven't talked that much about legal immigration, and I said before that amnesty and illegal amnesty begets more amnesty, but to some extent, legal immigration leads to illegal immigration as well, because people come here legally, and then their immediate family they can usually bring right away, but their siblings, their cousins, whatever, they have to go on a waiting list, so they want to come illegally. So when you have high levels of legal immigration, you can't eliminate illegal immigration with legal immigration, so we'll let more people in, because the more people you let in, the more relatives they'll want to bring. So I think we have to look at legal immigration numbers as well. And we'd like to see those overall numbers come down. We shouldn't have extended family reunification. That should be limited to nuclear families. Your spouse and kids, not your cousins, not your uncles, not your aging parents. So we need to bring those numbers down, and that will help somewhat with the illegal immigration problem. We need to get rid of the diversity lottery that we touched on earlier. We should eliminate birthright citizenship, what I sometimes call accidental birthright
It's been done a long time ago.
Right, because the purpose of that was to make sure
You got numbers.
freed slaves were citizens. Let's get that question. There's never been a court ruling that says someone who is here illegally, that those offspring are automatically American citizens. And if you look at what other countries, especially other industrialized countries, have done, most of them have eliminated this concept where you become a citizen just because you're at a certain place. Almost all of Western Europe used to have birthright citizenship, but they got rid of it. They realized it really didn't make sense. They put it to a ballot in Ireland. They eliminated it by a vote. And if you look at other recent immigrant-receiving countries like New Zealand and Australia, both of them used to have birthright citizenship. They both got rid of it, because not only does it not make any sense for two people from somewhere else to happen to fly over American airspace and give birth. I mean, it leads to additional problems, what they call birth tourism. There have been advertisements in Korea and China, like, go to America and you have a U.S. citizen. You have what's called an anchor baby, and then they have a toehold. They can bring you over later. To where there were packages, tourist packages, where there was a raid in Los Angeles where people were essentially coming over, just to make sure that they gave birth to an American citizen. So this, when you have an anchor baby, that encourages more illegal immigration, because it's very unlikely that that illegal immigrants who have an American citizen child are going to be deported. So eliminating birthright citizenship helps. Keeps the numbers down, but help reduce illegal immigration as well. The E-Verify program that I mentioned earlier, that's an important component. So getting rid of extended family reunification, eliminating birthright citizenship, mandatory E-Verify, those are all important components, along with border security. And we've touched on that, some fencing, additional agents, those are all good ideas. I think the building a wall is certainly not the top priority for me.
Rick, what about the latest on this whole business about immigration and whatever? What about rich Asians being able, for $500,000, could actually buy themselves a green card and citizenship? And the way they do that is that they just invest the $500,000 in a development, but they still keep the development.
Oh, that's a new one.
That's kind of interesting. Now they're getting ready to try to increase that.
Come here and move into Canada and all that.
Yeah, I mean, so we're not helping matters at all. And here we go. The rich are able to be. Now you would agree that we've always had that 10% they'll be able to come in here illegal, but in most cases these people had money.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rick.
Well, I was saying, you have that EB-5 visa,
right?
Investor's visa,
right?
I don't know that the numbers are huge, but it's. That sort of demeans the immigration process, the immigration experience. Like you can just buy your way into the U.S.
Yep.
And it's just an outlet. It's just a safe haven in case things go bad in my country. Yeah. So that certainly, I don't know the details of that program, but it's probably abused, just like almost everything else. There's like the H-1B visa for employment. Which is gone, largely to tech workers. I mean, why aren't we training our own people?
I know.
Why do we've invented all these things throughout the last couple centuries, and now we can't do it ourselves? I mean, sure, that there should be some exceptions. I mean, for people at the very top of their field, we need an exchange of professors and students and so on. We want to be a part of the world. But we've seen some huge scandals. We had maybe you remember where Disney, and there's been more than one since Southern Cal. Edison was another one where they brought in temp workers who were going to take over the jobs of Americans, and the American workers had to train their replacements before they fired them. And if they didn't, then they would lose their severance package.
Yep. Right.
And if they spoke out about it, they would lose their severance package. But there have been a number of instances like this. I mean, can you imagine how that feels? You're being fired. You got to train your replacement first. I mean, that's just awful.
And look at the incarceration that we have within our criminal justice system aspect of it. A lot of those folks that were doing construction, I'll be right up front with you, as far as a lot of African Americans, if you will, were displaced because, in all due respect, of the illegal immigration aspect of it. You got me?
Okay.
And then contractors would hire them, and then next thing you know, in all due respect, in this country here, if you can't eat, if you can't eat, you're going to find somewhere to get it, one way or the other.
You don't go hungry in Portland.
That's right. And so my point is that where do we go? I'm still going back, Rick. Where do we go? I mean, are people talking to you in Congress? I mean, like the folks who are like the Speaker of the House and Speaker of the Senate, and are they talking to you and listening to what you're saying for a change?
Well, not to me personally, it's a tough fight, and certainly the Trump administration has taken a different direction, but it's not just a matter of conservative versus liberal or Republican.
No, right. This is
a lot of the. I mean, there is a big chunk of the Republican wing that is sort of very libertarian immigration. They want a lot of workers. They want cheap labor. So there's been a big fight within the Republican parties, and they were just Senator Johnson, Republican from Wisconsin, and as his co-sponsor McCain from Arizona, they just introduced a bill in the Senate that would allow states to sponsor visas, and with an additional $500,000 a year, and the numbers would roll over, so that if the states didn't issue all of them, then those numbers could be used next year. So the states could sponsor people to work, and this is just like this within a few years, and that $500,000 number doesn't include spouses or children. They would also be authorized to work. So in a few years, you would have millions of new workers flooding the market. And so this is, again, coming from the Republican side. Now, this is probably not going to go anywhere. It's probably just a symbolic thing, but it was put together by the Cato Institute, which is sort of a libertarian, open borders institution. So It's tough. Yeah, I mean, there's a new direction. There is certainly support for enforcement as long as the Republicans are in control of the Senate. But we can't let our guard down. There's going to be there may be another push to have a comprehensive immigration package, which will include some portion of amnesty as part of it. And then you see there's resistance to Trump on a lot of different fronts. So it's a fight. It's not smooth sailing in terms of getting immigration numbers down.
Well, I'll say this on my last piece is this: I'm not going to blame the people who are trying to get here, if you will, to feed their families and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm blaming the people who signed those bills, who created those bills. Those are the ones we need to go. Just like you said, the E-Verifies. You know and I know, Rick, that in all due respect, the majority of those employers are just overlooking that E-Verify piece. I've never seen an employer go to jail.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like you just said about the Del Monte thing. They picked up all these folks that are illegal.
Yeah.
They should have been picking up the chairman of the board.
Well, I agree, and that's what we talked about before. Back to the the 1986 legislation, there was supposed to be employer sanctions. There have been. It happens, but it's so rare. It's a story. There was a restaurant owner in L.A. that had to pay a couple $100,000 fine, but it's so rare.
Yeah, but you said fine, Rick. Rick, you said
we shouldn't be blaming poor people for wanting better lives, for wanting to come here. And as long as you don't enforce the laws, that's part of the problem.
Rick, it's not.
It's the laws, and a lot of it is just a lack of enforcement.
Rick, check this out, Rick.
And I'm hoping that we're going to see some new enforcement now.
Right, Rick. It's not the fine I'm talking about. I'm talking about hard labor. I'm talking about in the pen. I'm talking about dealing with that environment aspect of it, giving them 15 or 20 years, if you will. Okay.
Oh.
No pardon.
Oh.
Then
wow.
you got the example.
Got a rough judge.
Well, hey, I'm an old Roy Bean.
Judge.
I'm an old Roy Bean type.
No, I agree with you. I mean, some of them certainly need some
Not the money.
But there's been so little enforcement of the fines. I would be happy to see a big increase in that enforcement for now.
Yeah, but guess what? Here, check this out. We're willing, it was interesting, a lot of people don't realize this, but we're willing to basically set aside for the incarceration of a person in the institution, what, $40,000, $50,000 a year?
Oh.
Yeah,
Because that's how much it costs.
That's what it costs, $40,000 to $50,000 a year, as opposed to giving a man a job for 25 or 30, and pay taxes on that.
Okay. Immigration people still are. Is this correct? They're still a drain on our economy.
Oh, big time.
Well, the economics are complicated. A lot of economists think immigration is good. Many others disagree. With the thing is, a lot of economists are not demographers, and so you figure, well, this will make increase our GDP. Well, of course, it increases our GDP. Does it increase our per capita GDP? If you have more people, you have a bigger economy. Now, what there seems to be a consensus on is that immigration hurts the less skilled. The American workers with less skills and lower income. And the leading economist on this is Jorge Borjas at Harvard. He's written extensive. And so the impact of immigration on the overall economy, it certainly seems to hurt in terms of the fiscal picture for the government. Spends out more taxes. Over the longer run, it gets more complicated with future generations. But the broader consensus is that it helps rich people and it hurts poor people.
Well, the next incarceration impact we're having on people, if you will, the American people, in all due respect, all around the country, it's called homeless.
Oh, right.
What about all those folks who have lost their jobs, nowhere to go? You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying?
That's a whole different world,
It's a whole different world aspect of it. But what's going to happen if all of a sudden they realize that all I have to do is go to the local grocery store, steal maybe a batch of meat, if you will, a couple of chickens, and wait for the cop to come and pick you up, and then you get 3 meals a day, roof over your head.
Well, that's true.
On and on. We don't want to go in that direction. People are still motivated, wanting to work and look at the American dream of owning a home and whatever. Boy, we got to correct this stuff right away. What do you think, Rick?
I think Yeah, I think we have to look after our own first. You know, we're a big, rich country.
That's right.
We can do a lot to help
Gee.
things in the world, and we have done a lot. But you know, if you tell me somebody is you know starving across the ocean, there's only so much I can do. But if my neighbor's starving, then I've got a sandwich for that neighbor.
Right.
And so we need to spend a little more time looking after our own first.
Right.
And beyond, like I said before, I mean, the same point that you're making is it's cost effective to help poor people so that they can get a job, so that they don't need to turn to crime, and it doesn't make any sense to import people to take those jobs.
Okay. I think we've got what, about 2.5 minutes?
2.5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, and
He should run for office.
Oh,
Get him
okay.
to run for office.
Oh.
Run for office, Rick. We'll support you.
You can send them a
Yeah.
campaign contribution.
Yes,
you
sir.
need Oregon voters down there.
That's right, right. With
You
Richard.
don't want we know you don't want any more Californians coming up there, so I'm sort of out of luck up there.
Oh, no. You're an American. That's okay. We cool.
Yeah. We've been talking with Rick Oberlink,
Been good.
past director of Californians for Population Stabilization, CAPS, and we've had them before. I personally appreciate
Yeah.
what they're doing down there. Just being there. Joe Wiedemann, great lady that runs CAPS or is involved with CAPS. She's the one I end up talking to when I call. So it's always good to hear from Joe. She's a great lady down there. So
She's doing a
anyway, I didn't know if you had any other last words. Appreciate seeing some of your articles here. That'd be nice to see if we could get one of those. I wouldn't mind that at all.
Good. Any CAP people are in the legislature at all, or mayors or whatever around the state?
Not that I know of. I know we've had people on the board who were legislative candidates before, and some of them, it's a group. We've got thousands of supporters, mostly in California. We have them across the country, and
Okay.
some of them are involved in local politics and local issues as well. We had, we have like there's former governor of Colorado who's on our advisory board. He's good on growth issues. Richard Lamb and
Oh yeah, he's great.
yeah, he's very good on population growth and
Right.
immigration, and used to live out here in California. Went to law school, the same place I did. So we've got people involved in a lot of different issues.
Okay, well we're
running out of time.
going to cut it off, and I certainly appreciate your calling in and so prompt and everything. It's just been great.
Really appreciate it, Rick. Good information.
Thank you, Richard.
Good background.
Thank you, Bruce. It's been enjoyable chatting with you.
Have a good
Okay,
one.
and we're
Thank you
gonna
very much,
put
my
up
brother. Okay, thank you.
our replay times.
That's right.
Then
There we go.
there we go. Okay, we're back, and this is Bruce Broussard. I'm Richard Carpenter. Well, I didn't introduce us in the very beginning of the
we had a
first
great
show,
show, but it was good though. It was a good show. I mean,
good show. That's
we
right.
haven't been able to solve the problem yet. You know?
I want to listen to it again.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
Really
Really good show.
He was just pouring out
Yes.
all kinds of information.
They got a real big job up in California. I mean,
Yes.
it's a major border state to Mexico.
Oh yeah.
And the entree, if you will, coming into this country. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And this is huge. I mean, we want to maintain our relationship with Mexico.
Okay.
We want to maintain the ideal that we are kind of like the point person, if you will, for the world, for that matter.
Yeah.
You got
Okay.
me? And so how do we retain that? But anyway, it was a
Anyway,
good show.
what I really wanted to talk about first,
Yes.
which is will not take up the whole thing,
Sure.
of course, is the 82nd Avenue parade that was canceled
Yes.
because protesters threatened them, and it just blew me away when I heard that. What that means, I thought that is really a good parade to go to, because years ago, I mean, toward many years ago, I went to the Rose Festival parade here, and there were like 6 people in front of me. I couldn't see anything. And I said, I'm not going to come and see this parade anymore. I want to see little parades.
The little downtown starlight and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I even became part of one of those.
Yeah.
Anyway, there was a reason why I didn't go back to the Rose Festival parade. This one is part of the Rose
Yes, it
Festival.
is.
It's all scheduled.
It is.
And then to have it canceled because someone threatened. I couldn't understand why they didn't call the police.
Well,
Why don't you call the police and have them help you and say you...
well, in all due respect, the responsibility was on the hands of Mayor Ted Wheeler.
Okay,
He's
all right.
the one that basically said, he was part and parcel in making that decision, because it is Portland.
Oh.
It's Portland. They basically, the Rose Festival folks have to come to the city for a permit, if you will.
And these probably did.
That's right. That's part of the permit.
Rose
fee.
Festival
And
parade.
They were trying to put it on the fact that it was the association. It wasn't the association.
Oh, okay.
I mean, all the mayor had to say, well, fine, to whomever was threatening, if you will, hey, we're going to have police presence there. We're not going to tolerate this. And
That's right.
Very simple. But that didn't happen.
That's right.
That didn't happen. And then all of a sudden, and I looked at it totally, because I like you, I participated in the 82nd parade, in that parade, even when we ran for mayor aspect of it.
Oh,
and the
yeah.
fact of the matter is that there was no problem. There was no problem. And people in Southeast Portland needed that parade. Those kids,
That's right.
those
That's
kids
right.
had prepared themselves. The bands were already ready to go.
That's right.
Little kids were ready to line up. The families were ready to go. That whole community was ready to go. And then all of a sudden, hey, you can't have it anymore. But guess what? It happened anyway. And guess what
right.
put it together? The family.
Opposing protests marched
right.
down 82nd.
That's
So
right.
they kind of did it anyway, but it shouldn't have. It should be a regular, a good deal, a good parade. And I want you. My point here is, I took it personally.
I heard that.
I took it personally.
A lot of people
It
did.
means I couldn't take my wife.
Yeah,
I couldn't take my daughter. I couldn't take a friend. I couldn't take anybody because these protesters had said no, you can't do it. We'll create problems for you. And so,
Well, like I say, I don't blame. In all due respect, I don't blame the protesters.
well,
The mayor of the
okay,
city. All the mayor had to do
All
is
right,
says,
all right.
look here, we are going to have this parade.
okay,
In fact, I would have even ignored it, if you will, and had police presence there.
Right.
You got
That's
you know
the way to do it.
otherwise, you make a person feel boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, people think, oh, there's going to be a lot of shootouts and all this, that, and the other. No, you don't give anybody that kind of credibility. You just say, hey, no, it will not be tolerated.
right,
Okay.
Okay.
The police were there. They had the parade, and I saw a lot of folks from the community
okay,
that made sure that these folks couldn't just do what they wanted to do. In fact, I noticed one particular incident. They were trying to relate a lot of the so-called far right kinds of protesters
okay.
with the Republican Party. And then the Republican
Yeah,
Party
that's
that
right.
was
They're
there-
trying to blame them.
That's right. And then the Republican Party, the folks from the Republican Party that were there said, hey, look, no, we don't represent this. You do not represent
right.
this, etc.
That's right.
And then it was said that the police that knew this guy and he had mental illness. He had mental illness and say, well, no, he has mental illness, blah, 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 routine. Well, if that's the case, pick the person up and take him to the hospital.
Okay.
Jesus Christ, what do you need to do? He's sitting out there yelling niggers and this, that, and the other, and it's frustrating people. People saying, I don't want to be identified with this, and it's causing friction. If anything, it's trying to create the problem.
Right.
But I saw some people there that made sure they got on top of it. They took care of him. They allowed him to say some things, but they should have stopped him right then.
Yeah.
If the man is sick, take him. We don't have a mental illness institution here, in all due respect.
Right, we haven't.
We just kind of putting them in a mini kind of a deal in neighborhoods. It's really as bad.
And unfortunately, some end up being homeless and all that.
But you're right about this 82nd thing. That boiled my blood too, big time.
It was just, yeah, it was personal.
It was-
In other words, now I'm against whatever those protesters are for. I just don't want anything to do
But make
with
sure,
what
like
they
I say,
think.
point the other finger at the leadership.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to
Okay.
get i.e. just anti him. No, he happens to be the mayor of this city of Portland. You
Right.
be the mayor. That's your job, 24/7.
That's right.
And you make a decision.
Okay.
You will have a parade here. Ignore that so-called negative. And as soon
Okay.
as they stick their hands up, and once you get a visual on them, pick them up.
Okay.
Don't play around. You don't sit around waiting for folks to come something up, to pull something out.
Okay.
I mean, it's getting down to the point we may want to put a fence around the whole parade and then have a metal detector, if you will, to
Oh,
come
my.
in. And then, but my point is that it's really a sad note. What all
That's
you
right.
can do is just say, hey, look here, we got law enforcement officers. They're not police officers. They're law enforcement. The laws, if you will, are generated by us, the people.
Okay.
Then we hire someone like the mayor, i.e. a person who's elected to office. We hire someone, right,
All right.
to basically carry that out. That's his job.
All right.
Or her job.
That's right.
Let's quit
Could
playing
go either way.
making this so sophisticated aspect of it. You know what I mean? I don't. If I pick up the phone and you don't want to answer the phone, I got a problem with it. That's why I ran for office.
Oh, okay. You. All
That's why
right.
I ran for office.
Okay.
Try to educate and inform. Well, I haven't left anything. As far as I'm concerned, I'm the one. It is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But we, the people, are going to have to express that. You have to stand up, and you have to stand up for your right. If you got someone elected to office, I could care less. They're Republican, Democrats, Independent, whatever. If they win, ultimately, they do as you say. As you say. That's the bottom line.
Right.
It's we, the people.
Okay.
We got to really stress that piece. Otherwise, it gets personal, and it gets to be, well, if you were Bruce, if you were a Republican or Democrat, then guess what? If you're a Democrat and I'm a Republican, and you win office, well, I don't have to do what Bruce says because I'm a Democrat, he's a Republican.
Oh yeah,
See,
that's
that's
kind of
ridiculous. I'm tired of that stuff.
Well, there's a lot of that.
Fake
you know,
politicians.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
That's right.
So no, I agree with you. I was very upset about that whole piece, and in all due respect, I've got 2 grandkids, and they would have liked to have seen that parade.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I was in the last parade, and they liked the idea. I mean, giving candy to the kids, and I walked that whole deal myself too. At the same time, I had no problem. I had the same gear I had on here.
Okay. Okay.
I had no problem. This is who I am. Man.
Okay.
I didn't have no problem. In fact, I almost physically just got up. In all due respect, I was with the other kids and whatever, my wife or whatever. But ordinarily, I was thinking about, well, maybe I'll just go down there and talk to the gentleman that was saying things about negative, because the press kept playing with it from the standpoint of showing him making the quotes about nigger this and nigger that. I'm saying, well, you don't do that. You don't reinforce it that way.
That's
All you're
right.
doing is
Don't
adding fuel.
reinforce it.
You're adding fuel to the fire.
could try-
Somebody should have walked up to the person and said, hey, look, come on over.
Yeah,
Let's chat.
back away.
Just back away. Or if not, if you're law enforcement officer, pick the person up and take him to the hospital. If in fact he's identified as mentally ill, take him to a resource. In fact, it should be at Multnomah County. They're the one that's supposed to be responsible for the mental illness.
Okay.
But where were they?
Okay.
Anyway, don't get me started.
No. Well,
But I am-
we already did.
Yeah, but no, you're right. I appreciate what you just said there. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. Well,
So now we're talking about the largest school district in the state of Oregon, and I'm sure we can
Yes.
easily talk about that part.
okay.
You know what I mean? And the largest school district, we got an election process going on here right now. It's going to be quite a change, if you will. A number of the senior people are getting off the board. You've got there's several of them that are going to be getting off the board, and then you got new people coming on, and then you got to ask yourself the question: what directions are we going to go? Now, as you know, under the election process for the school board, it's districtized. You got various districts throughout the city of Portland,
Okay.
and then when you run, a person has to be from that respective district, that particular zone district, to run for that particular district. Okay, but if you run for office, you've got to run citywide. That means you got to be, you got to get the majority of the votes citywide, if you will, for just that one district. Okay, so now that means you got to have a lot of money to get that material. This kind of stuff.
Just put that on.
Oh, okay. Put it on mine?
On Richard.
On Rich? Okay, Rich. His is bad? Okay, good. We're going to get it down here. Okay. This is community television, folks. So bottom line, I'm getting my partner strapped in here. That one doesn't work.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, that one doesn't work. So we're going to get you,
okay.
we're going to get you just capped on right here. Just keep everything else on like that. Just don't worry about it. We got it. There you go, there you go, there you go. But the bottom line is that it's a districtized situation. You have to be in the district, but you have to run citywide. And the problem with that is that you got to have enough money to put flyers in everybody's door.
That's right. That's
If not
right.
that, you got to pay people to get out there and put it in the doors. You know what
Or
I'm saying?
pay mail.
Or pay mail, or pay
Right.
TV ads and radio ads and this, that, and the other. That's a lot of money. You know what I mean? At least 100,000, a minimum, if you will. 100,000 to at least be effective. Then you got to try to get as much support as you
You
can.
got it.
So, and at the same time, the job doesn't even pay.
That's right. It's
It doesn't
nothing.
even pay. So you may have a very articulate person working for a job for $20 an hour or $15 an hour, and how are they going to tell their employer they're going to get out here and run for office, and it's going to cost them $100,000 and they're only making $60,000?
Makes you wonder how they.
Does that work? So guess what? Money runs the board. And don't get me wrong, these folks are thinking about their kids. So they're running the education system, if you will.
Okay.
Money runs the education system for poor in any kind of an environment like that. Got me?
Yeah.
So consequently, when you see some of these candidates, all you have to do is look at on the contribution list of the supporters. Who's supporting the candidates?
Okay.
They'll tell you where the money's at.
I want to ask you a question before we get too deep. Do you know anything at all about how the lead situation is right now?
The lead situation, the way it is right now, is kind of like a scare tactic right now for the bonding measure. You know, we got almost $1 billion bond, and if you'll see the flyers, I don't have that one big one. They got a large flyer that goes out and says, "Hey, you need to support this bonding measure. We're going to get the lead out of the water."
And that's part of the next deal.
That's the next deal.
In other words,
$1 billion.
We couldn't have spent the last $500 million.
That's right.
On that. No,
Yes.
that wouldn't be
Well,
right.
what we did from a historical standpoint, you know, I was in part involved with when they got rid of the custodians.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Oh, I sure do.
mean,
And they
I
came
was on
here.
the custodian deal. I was part and parcel of that whole process. These guys, I learned so much about the fact that these folks, men and women, were actually doing all that work. They made sure that there was no lead in the water. They made sure there was security in the building. They made sure there was a lot of maintenance. They made sure that the yards were all cut up. They made sure that the boiler makers were working and this, that, and the other. They came in there, administration came in there and fired all those people.
Yep.
They belonged to a union, SEIU.
Right.
And SEIU played politics and got, in all due respect, some of them were undocumented workers,
Oh.
and they got the school district to hire them. And here you got folks who were part of the SEIU union, okay?
Okay.
They weren't even represented. They had to fight for days. Some of these people lost their jobs. They lost their retirements. Several of them died. So stressed out and frustrated about this.
I remember how difficult it was.
But we didn't have a lead problem when they were in the school system.
Okay.
Got me? And then after they fired them, in fact, right up front with it, there was a special filter that went into in all the schools. They basically took the lead out before it got out out of the faucet. So to speak. They would change the faucet itself, because once if they hadn't sorted on that kind of deal, they'd call the plumber up, another union, he'd come in and fix it. Got me? But the bottom line is that they had a filter that took the lead out before it got into the water for the kid to drink.
Okay.
So guess what happened to this new group, i.e. through the administration? Take out those filters and put a cheaper filter in there that didn't take the lead out of the water.
I'm glad.
Then when we went through that discussion and these talks at the various schools in this last round, that basically, in all due respect, that ultimately the superintendent quit. But the fact of the matter is, I think she's a fine person aspect of it, but that whole system aspect of it, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
She had no choice. So in all due respect, she respected it and just she said, "I'm gone." Got my point. I think she was going to want to do something, but they say no. They want you to just get out because you just like we got to have a scapegoat, if you will, as far as I'm concerned. But the fact of the matter is, even then, when they said, "Okay, fine, we got a problem," they finally brought it up that we got lead in the deal, and this is why we got this filter process. They didn't say anything about, well, why don't we change the filter to start with,
Okay.
and then test the water again?
Okay.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
All right.
Then if you still have some lead, then you say, well, okay, tell you what we might do. We'll just call some folks in the unions, the plumbers, and say, look, here's the problem. We'll test all of the outlets, and then if we got so many outlets, can you take the water? Can you carry the water in pipes from point A, where the city has no responsibility at this point, to take it to the school?
Okay.
So you run a pipe, right, over to the school, and you put a clean faucet. And then guess what? You can get the water off of there, right? What did they do? They bought bottled water for the kids at the tune of about $80,000 a month. And kids are drinking bottled water, and you don't know whether or not it's good water because there's suspect now about which bottled water you're buying, because it's not fair.
I guess I've never known if bottled water had lead in it, but
you never know.
Hopefully you think it does not.
But
you don't
still,
know.
but my point is that it would have been far cheaper just to bring a good pipe. You know what I'm saying? Right there, and then get some good clean bottles and put the water. It'd be cheaper. You see where I'm kind of coming from? See, so my point is that it's a big mess. So, but the fact of the matter is, this bond measure, that's the thing that really just tears me. I got two kids in there.
Let me make one other comment about the lead, and not the lead, but the bottled water. Maybe people don't even think about it. All those bottles are going to go in the garbage,
Yeah.
and then they're going to end up out in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, out in the mouth, beyond San Francisco, beyond Portland. It's just huge.
They
And
don't-
no
they
one
don't.
thinks, well, it's out of sight, out of mind. No, it isn't. It's in the bottom of the ocean, and it's going to come back and bite us. That's all there is to it.
Like I said, I would have called the trade. I would have called the plumbers union. Or the plumbers, if you will.
Okay.
Then come over here, tell them what the situation is, and say, look here, I want 3 or 4 main pipes. If I got 4 stories here, I'd like to have I'd like to have 8 outlets. One on this end and one on that other end, right?
Right. Okay.
Good water.
All right.
They'd come in there and put that thing up, I'd say within, 2-3 weeks at the most?
Okay.
Kind
Okay.
of a crisis, right? Got me? Done deal.
Okay.
Done deal. But no, hey, we still paying that bill, right? But the bottom line is that they're using that lead piece as a justification for the bond measure. We need new buildings, we need this, that, and the other. And then I'm saying to myself, we still are, the Portland Public School is still the highest failure rate in the state. Why don't we put that money into the school, in the classrooms? You know,
Okay.
what's happening with the classroom aspect of it? You got me?
Okay. Maybe.
That's a major piece. Not put it up in brick and mortar right now. Let's take care of these kids. Where did you go to school? And what kind of a classroom did you have? I was sitting in 35 or 40. I did pretty good. I had voc ed in the schools during that time. There's no voc ed. There's no voc ed in Portland Public Schools. There's got one semi, which is Benson High School.
Yeah.
Okay, Benson High School, but that's not for all the kids. It's all the kids. Voc ed should be in every school in the school. It's a motivator, if you will, for a kid to want to read and write. Because in all due respect, whether you're doing auto mechanics or whether you're doing cooking or whether you're doing this or whatever, or drafting or whatever, you have to read a book to know how to do it.
Yeah.
That's the motivating factor. And we need it more now today because a lot of the parents have fallen through the crack. So they really can't teach their kids
That's right.
that homework aspect of it. But there's the other side of it called homeschool.
Yeah. Right.
See, that's
Okay.
homeschool. You got charter schools, you got homeschool, you got private schools. Private schools are tough. If you got money, you can get the best education for your kid. But a lot of people, the majority of people don't have the money. But there's charter schools aspect of it, and then that's a whole different ball game. And then there's school choice.
And not all of them have computers either.
No, but guess what though? But my point is that my point is that we got to recognize one thing. Every student gets $14,000.
Oh, and
$14,000
Yeah.
for their education. We as a society have always felt very strong about doing everything we can during those formative years
right.
to
Oh,
get
yeah.
those kids educated, okay?
Sure.
They got $14,000. Imagine $14,000 per kid.
That's right.
I did a piece with a guy who had gone through a homeschool situation. It was Art Robinson. In fact, you can check it out on Oregon Voters Digest. I did this past Sunday. And
he
talked
was
about
he
homeschooling.
was here.
Yeah, remember he was here with us one time.
I
remember?
saw you
that?
with him.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, check it out. It isn't about no far right or Republican this or this, that, and the other. Listen to what this guy said. Now, his background is very simple. He had a family. His wife died. He was in private business as a chemist, aspect of it. He was left with 4 kids.
That's
young
right.
kids, remember that? And he lays it all out. At the end of the day, 3 of them right now had PhDs. He did homeschool.
Oh, okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. Now, he was kind of like middle class, but he had to work hard. But imagine, 3 of those kids are PhDs. They didn't even set foot in
a school.
In a school.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
So something is wrong. In all due respect, the public school is supposed to be the best schools in the world.
Right. Right.
I mean, that's the whole idea. We want the best for our kids, the majority.
Okay.
They're not getting the best right now. So we got quite a mess, and so we got the people that are running for office, and in some of the I'm just throwing some of the highlights aspect of it. It's so bad politically that none of the people that are running for the school board can talk about the bond measure. They're all
Because
for it.
they're all
for it. They all have to be for it. Because if you're anti, you can't get any money.
That's right. They would be involved in the receiving of the benefits.
That's right. That's right. So the builders are putting money in this campaign by saying, well, don't get me wrong, I can't be anti someone wanting to build something and make a buck. But when they get through building it, they're gone. And the kids are still there. Our goal is to try to educate these kids.
That's right.
See what I'm saying?
Right. Okay.
So my thing is that I think that they really need to go back to the table and look at this whole business about the bond thing. I'm not saying no to the building new structures, but I'm just saying let's start off the right foot this time. Let's make sure we got voc ed in these schools. Make sure we put more money, put some money. Make sure we got the teachers and this, that. We got public school, and open it up to the market, if you will. It's kind of hip to say, look here, if I don't give a damn if it's charter school or school choice or homeschool or whatever, but if whoever's got the best program, let the parent make the decision. That's just a thought.
Had another way of looking at this bond thing is the one we approved 4 years ago,
Yep.
half a billion.
Right.
That's like a first mortgage.
Yep.
This one here, 790 million,
Yep.
is like a second mortgage,
Yep.
and they're always more risky. I'd like to get the first mortgage paid off.
I would say so, and then especially those people that are retired.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's going to cost all of them
and they
money.
all, the whole monetary system within this area. The baby boomers, if you will, that kids are now they've graduated from school. They want nicer things and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the banks will loan them a money to buy something on a long range plan. So the $200,000 house that mom, let's say you and I might have bought, guess what? It's popped up to $500,000. Then our taxes have gone up on this whole piece.
Okay.
That's more money on your back aspect of it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now people are being gentrified. The word gentrified, a lot of times they identify the Portland area as a black issue. No.
What
This
does
issue
that
is
mean?
across the board.
Talk about
Well,
gentrify. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to
Gentrifying means that you got down to initially when you say gentrified, people think it's just black folks. It's a racial kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just a racial kind of a deal. Don't get
Okay.
me wrong. I mean, we can talk about the abilities to be able to purchase and lending practice and this, that, and the other. From a historical standpoint, blacks were not treated fairly. Okay, but today, I'm saying they are part in that whole process of being poor folks are being gentrified.
Okay.
You can't buy homes anymore. Okay, and banks are in the business of making money. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but so
Well-
gentrification is that if a senior citizen is sitting in a house, sitting in an area, and they want to build a high-rise aspect of it.
Right.
You got me? They can do an eminent domain on you or something.
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
They
Oh,
can
yeah.
do all kinds of weird things. A good example of that was the hospital, over here. I'm thinking about over here in Northeast Portland here.
Northeast?
Yeah.
Oh, you're referring to Emmanuel.
Emmanuel Hospital.
And
That was over
that
there.
goes way
Yeah,
back.
poor area aspect of it. They basically got all those folks out of there and built that.
And includes that one lady that she didn't have her friends
Yep.
because she had to move out in the middle of nowhere or something. I remember that,
But you
reading
remember that
it.
one, right? Well, the same that, but now it takes on a different thing. Look, you got all these high rises that are sitting here in the Northeast Portland corridor, if you will.
And
throughout the
Southeast,
city,
too.
for that matter, all over the place.
You're right.
I mean, these developers are coming from out of state. Got me? You build these high rise.
That's
You got parking problems.
That's
I mean,
right.
you got livability problems. You got all kinds of, but you got the high tech folks, maybe from back east or something. They can purchase those $500,000 or $600,000 home. And in fact, I remember being I remember about 4 or 5 years ago. I remember Californians coming to Oregon.
Oh, yes.
Remember
Oh, yes.
coming to Oregon, and they living in these $1-2 million homes, if you will. I mean, one person I interviewed said, "Well, gee whiz, this is great. I mean, I can come down here. I bought myself 3 pieces of property.
California
I moved in one.
money.
Yeah, California. The $2 million. It was I think it was about $2 million. Took the $2 million, bought him 3 houses in nice areas, got one for himself, rented the other 2 out, and now all of
Okay.
a sudden today he was able to get his $2 million back.
Oh,
and own his
okay.
house right now.
Right. Right.
You understand what I'm saying? See, that's how. So, and we weren't prepared for that.
Oddly enough, there's an article in Tribune that was out yesterday about that, about someone
Yeah.
profiting from.
Yeah, but it's
Sale
after the
of house.
fact. The little people don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? If you got the money, you can buy anything you want.
that's right.
Yeah, but how many people win the lotto? You can try.
Not very many,
Not
right.
very many. But the fact of the matter is that you're right. There's a lot of things that's happening. That's why leadership is so important.
Okay.
Somebody should, and I'm not putting this on the present mayor aspect of it. I'm putting it on the mayors that were before that, the city council folk who were sitting up there. They saw what those trends were. You got me? And
Right.
they could have talked to that issue and addressed those issues and passed rules and regs that prevents that kind of, keeps the neighborhood intact, that type of deal. Making sure there's economic development and jobs, and same thing with the homeless situation. Solve that problem. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We talked about that many times over, aspect of it. So, but getting back to this piece here, I saw one person that I spoke to. Well, I really can't tell you who it was, but she too opposed this bond measure.
Oh,
But she can't say it publicly. Isn't
okay.
that something?
That's right.
But I am somewhat impressed with people like Julia Brim Edwards. She's coming from Nike. I remember her dad. He was a community leader big time, and Brim was too, naturally, but it's like anything else. But she was on the board before, so she's coming from that particular level. So as far as I'm concerned, she's going to be good on that board.
Yeah.
I can see her being a chair.
Well, she's there now, right?
No. She's
Oh.
running. She's running for office right now.
Oh,
And
okay.
she's a good, solid person.
Okay,
Julia
okay.
Brim Edwards, and then another one that I know is Rita Moore, and I know Rita spent a lot of time in the meetings and all this. That I mean, really spent some time and knowing what's going on, and was recommended very strongly by Steve Buell. Remember Steve, who used to come in?
Yes, I know him
Steve- yeah,
almost
Steve-
personally.
Yeah, Steve's getting ready to leave. So he's not going to be on the board anymore.
That's right.
He's giving it up, and he's kind of like endorsed Rita Moore. And I've spoken to her on several different occasions, and she seemed to be a pretty good person aspect of it.
He right. He's a what do you call it? Square.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
square person.
But he's independent. See, he's
Gets the
retired.
job.
See, so he doesn't have to worry about these other issues. And he's really a dedicated person about kids. He really is about kids.
Okay.
But the fact of the matter is he's been trying to focus to try to get someone to replace him. And so one of the person he's endorsed has been Rita Moore aspect of it. And then there's LaForte, this basically the same thing. She's been very much involved in in the school situation and whatever. So those are the three people that I kind of talked to other folks, but those are the three people that I'm thinking about basically supporting, because I think they're going to bring some influence. Now, as you can see, there's no person of color on the board right now.
They're all in the city, Multnomah City Council.
So the name of the game, there's another young lady by the name of Jamelia Singleton Munson, and in all due respect, I tried calling her on several occasions, but she never returned the call.
Oh.
I was going to really interview her and give her an opportunity to express herself and kind of really get into, because she's not from Portland per se. She's from Portland, I guess, but the fact is she really hasn't spent this much time in the Portland system aspect of it, and so consequently it's going to be tough for her to, let's say, be chairman of the board.
When they don't answer you, that's a problem.
That's a problem. Then I think about the other politics, but you know how I am. I can care less about the politics. The key is that if she's going to run for the school board, she should run on her own merit.
Okay.
Regardless of how negative someone might be or whatever. If anything, that's the kind of guy I am. I'll contact a negative person to see what their views are.
Oh, yeah.
If I can convince you to change your mind, I'm really getting some support. You know what I'm saying? But my point is that she seemed to be a nice person aspect of it, but I'm concerned about really, what she brings to the table in terms of getting something going. I know Rita and I know her, and I did call Rita on several occasions. She returned her call. I spoke to her, and like I said, and because she has that go ahead with Steve, and Steve was very committed to being accessible while he was on the board.
Oh.
Here. And so I asked him about all of the folks too. So I just say hopefully that she'll stick around and hopefully she'll run again. See? But these three people here, we need some leadership on the school board right now, and I'm hopefully banking on the fact that those folks get elected. I think that's very, very important.
Well, they're certainly talking about having to have a lot of money.
Yeah.
They brought in somebody in particular to try to push that bond thing.
Oh yeah.
Somebody from outside the state, or is that right? Or
in all due respect, Channel 2 had a kind of a forum, if you will, just recently, and Steve Dunn, he did Your Voice, Your Vote kind of aspect of it. He does a show on Sunday, does a real good show on Sunday. But anyway, he opened the door up, and people were able to speak to the group.
What time is that show you're talking?
That was a special one. I think that was about 7 or 8, something like that.
Oh, all right.
It was an hour. But his show is on Sundays. He shows from Sunday from 9 to 9:30. He does a good show.
Okay.
But naturally, it's a short piece of time. You can't really talk to all of these folks. But he tries to get as many folks as he can on the deal. But that particular deal on the bonding deal, I mean, naturally, because I got a little bit more background, I'm looking at what these folks are saying. But in all due respect, no one addressed the kids in the classroom. You see what I'm saying? And then there was no sensitivity towards seniors. As far as unlimited income, I didn't see that. I didn't hear anything about voc ed in those discussions. I mean, and it was just a sad note aspect. It wasn't Steve's fault. He gave people the opportunity to come and speak.
Right.
I didn't go purposely. I did watch the show. I watched it too. And there was a lady from Cleveland that came on. She was an African American. She was a black woman, and she had just moved here.
Cleveland High.
No, Cleveland. I think it was the state of Cleveland.
Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah. I think it was Cleveland or whatever. And she came here, boy, she was just, she said, we did this back here in so-and-so state, and we did it this time, and this time. It's fantastic. It's a lot of money, but don't worry about it. And I mean, the way her appearance was such.
You have to worry.
She was middle class plus. I'm trying to figure out who hired her.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, I didn't see the local folks, the local politicians.
Okay.
I didn't see, in all due respect, I didn't see the local state representatives. I didn't see them there. You know what I mean? I didn't see them in the audience making any statements. And in fact, I didn't see any school board members there.
Oh, all right.
There was none. He offered it to everybody. But like I said, I did my research and found that, that hey, it's just, some of them do support it, but they can't afford to publicly support it.
What should the people on the board be talking about? Should they be talking about the kids and what books they're supposed to deal with, or what is there an example?
Well, in all due respect, voc ed is so important. It's so important, especially for the kids down below, you know, that really don't have access to the monies, if you will, and their parents are kind of like, they can't help them at home and whatever. But with Voc Ed, that's hands-on stuff, you know what I mean?
You're talking about lumber,
Yeah, lumber,
building.
auto mechanics. You know, imagine building an engine. You know, breaking it down and talking about micrometers and how to measure stuff and chemistry. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Compression and all that other good stuff. And then all of a sudden you mix all of that in, and you got a heck of a course there. You got me?
Right.
But if you just drive in the car, you know, that's not going to do it. But if they love driving the car, if you put them in the engine in terms of how you get it to go, that's a whole different deal. And you'll find all kinds of folks along that particular line. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden they'll learn how to read. That's a big piece.
Okay, now, I want to tell you a story.
to me.
Happened back during the Second World War,
Okay.
about 1943, 44. We had a carpentry class. What do you call it? Ed, what do you call it?
It was
It,
was it wood? No, it was
woodworking,
woodworking.
whatever.
Woodworking. Yeah.
And
Yeah, we built
I even remember the
birdhouses and all kinds of
teacher's
stuff,
name.
yeah.
His name was Morrison.
Did you?
Anyway, this was when supplies like that were very difficult to get. Somehow, my dad got a truckload of 1-inch by 12-inch, and every kid in that class, I remember that thing backing in down there by the side of Alameda, and that I remember that every kid in that class made an end table out of that wood. And whereas without the wood, we wouldn't have been able to do that. You would have had nothing.
Right.
And I just I thought that was always really neat.
Right. But
do
that's
something
good.
like that.
And I'll tell you a story about on my end of it.
All right.
I'm from Houston, Texas, and I went to school there and in high school and whatever. And I was very much interested in math and stuff like that. My mom and dad. My dad grew up basically. He worked in the oil fields, so to speak.
Oh,
And
okay.
Mom did housework aspect of it. So they really couldn't do a lot of things, but I had a family, you know, I had mom and dad. But I got very much involved in the ironworks, in metalwork.
Oh, okay.
In Voc Ed, in metalwork. And at the end of the day, I competed nationally at Ford Motor Company, and I spun a chafing dish out of aluminum on a lathe,
Okay.
and I won first place.
Wow.
In that mill
cool.
category. And I was given a week or 2 weeks up in Dearborn, Michigan. Had the opportunity to shake the hand of the president of Ford Motor Company aspect. of it.
Wow.
They gave us a trip to Dearborn, Michigan, the whole 9 yards. I still have the clippings.
Good.
Still
Keep
have the
it.
clippings. And then I had another clipping where a science project. I was able to. I made a project to extract sulfur out of the ground.
Wow.
The frost, they call it the frost process of extracting sulfur out of the ground. Well, you had to have a canister, you know, and on this, that, and the other, hot water and all that. I had all of the lines and this, that, and the other, and I had the demonstration, and it was good. I won first prize on that.
Cool.
I did metal work, and I did welding, and, you know, and we just on and on. But that was quite an inspiration, if you will, to get the grades. And at the end of the day, I picked up a scholarship.
Oh.
You see? So, and I'm not trying to brag, but my point is, I'm just giving
Why
you
not?
an example of what could be done from a Voc Ed piece. You know what I'm saying?
When someone hears about you doing that, they say, "Hey, I could do that."
In a black community of all things. And I competed not with just blacks. From a national perspective, I competed against the whole deal. In fact, you know, I could count on my hand how many kids were like me
Oh, yeah.
that were there in Michigan aspect of it.
That's right.
There was only 3 of us. You get me?
Right.
But in different categories. Some of them got honorable mention, whatever. But I got the first place prize and whatever, and that was good stuff. And so I'm speaking with a passion, just like yourself. You know what I mean? It's very important if we're going to keep this country to be the greatest country in the world. We got to make sure we bring up some more leaders. We got to educate our people, because that's the backbone of what we're all about.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You got me? And like I said, I'm not trying to take anything away from the immigration piece aspect, but just like you said, we got to care for our own first.
That's
We gotta care
right.
for our own first, and don't put this on the back of people that are already struggling to try to get here, who are already legitimate. You get me?
That's right.
And I'm not going to blame the people who got here as one would say illegal. I blame the people who signed the paper that allowed them to do that.
I just wish there were more ways of distributing birth control to the rest of the world.
That's another that's another issue. That's the only thing about progression. When in a country like ours, we're a very progressive kind of a deal.
Yeah, that's
we're a
right.
capitalistic society, point blank. The dollar rules in many ways. But education got that hard work. Back after you read all of those business about the American Revolution against the mother country, if you will, Britain and whatever, and then you go to the Civil War aspect of it, where Americans were fighting Americans, the North and the South aspect of it. You got me?
Yeah.
And we've kind of and they said it was race, and we're still fighting that. And some things we just need to eliminate. And here we are today. We're still trying to police the whole world.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but I think though that with this election that was going on right now, I think some good things are going to happen. I mean, I think we've realized that we're going to have to change our path. And so I tell people, a lot of people today, as far as the presidential election for the next 4 years, it started the first day that the person got elected. And the guy's name happens to be Trump, President Trump. There's an election right now. You got the CNN on one side, you got Fox on the other side, you got Trump over here as a conservative with the Fox side aspect of it. So they're kind of like leading because they own that White House.
Yeah, right.
White House, and then these guys here, they were doing everything they can, and they're spending everything trying to figure out what he did wrong, as opposed to trying to come up with some very positive things.
That's right.
You see, but they can't. That's not the way the process works. So they're just waiting. I'm thinking that latest piece about the firing of the FBI and no one knew what was going on. Everybody was in, and all of a sudden, boom, he's fired. Oh my God, what are we going to do?
That's right.
And then they just basically changed right between the deal, right? And they just started shooting, blah, blah, blah. And the other folks thought, hey, they already knew what was going on.
Right. I just might mention, I am still trying to have a person from FBI come
That'd be
here.
great.
It's not going to happen for a month or 2 or 3
good.
years.
Okay.
Because she's so busy. But
yeah. Well, it's a tough situation right now, but it is our top law enforcement agency in our country, for that matter.
I'll say about Trump, I'll say give him 8 years, and if he can't do a good job, we'll ask him to leave.
Yeah. Well, that's the way the system works anyway.
Okay.
You just don't get there and nobody says nothing about you. Right. Whoever gets there. I mean, look what they did to Jesus Christ.
Oh.
Right? Same boat, right?
Okay.
So I'm just saying to you that, hey, the man is president of the United States, but he knows how to read. He knows what the laws and whatever, and everything he does, he reads. And blah, blah, blah. But then people object here and say, well, forget the law. I don't like him because he did this. Well, no, that's not the way it works.
Right.
I mean, we got laws on the books. So even though there's this communication, a back and forth routine, but at the end of the day, it's going to still come out, as far as I'm concerned, in a positive way.
Yeah.
You got me?
Okay.
So for the next, right now, the big issue, as far as I'm concerned, in the whole election process, is about the Supreme Court. So whoever's sitting in the White House is in the position to appoint.
That's right.
So right now, the Republicans have a lead because they appointed the latest one, right? So the lead now is 5-4.
I hear what you're saying, but I've noticed something over the years. Let's say that you had 5 conservatives,
Right.
and 4 of the other side. I think one of them say, I'm going to mellow.
Yep.
I'm going to mellow a little bit.
That's right.
Because I know my deciding vote is the way the country's going to go.
Right.
So if you had 5 liberals, they'll get tougher.
Right.
People change and fit in. Same way Trump is.
Yep.
He's going to fit in just fine.
Yep. It's all about exposure too, when you think about it.
Yeah.
We're all creatures of our exposure, right?
Oh yeah. Okay.
But as time goes, if we get along on and on, you'll be sitting there opening up a Norma's Kitchen or something.
Okay.
Or vice versa. You got my point?
That's right.
I'll get your ways. You got my point? And look, here we are today, and I think we have a good show. I think this is a good show.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because we're able to share our thoughts
What we
and
do
respond.
here.
You know what I mean? What we do here, I think is very important. Mm-hmm. I think it's good.
Now, today's the 10th, and tomorrow, the 11th, we'll be down at the City Council
Right.
requesting funds for what we do here,
Yes, yes.
which is very
Yes,
important.
very, very, very.
Look at what
important.
we've done tonight.
Oh, gee,
it's
it's a very huge thing, and I gotta think, in all due respect, from a historical standpoint, I think about Neil Goldsmith.
Oh, yeah.
Mayor Neil Goldsmith. He was the guy that made sure that this entity got funded.
He was okay.
He made sure that the money just didn't go in the general funds. He specifically made it a point that the monies had to go to community media,
Okay.
community, the little folks, and that's what we're doing. I mean, it's about about getting these people to the table. Just like we're voicing our opinions here. We don't have a major staff. We don't have staff. You know what I mean? This is just community television, right? You know what I mean? We don't have the ads. We don't have the money. But we're here, and I think this is good. And look at the variations of folks we have here at community television. All the different cultures here. All kinds of folks that are talking.
Right.
And if you're running for office, you can come here, learn how to be a producer, learn how to be a whatever, and guess what? You can just go on and market yourself. Fair?
You know, Neil Goldsmith, you know how I remember him? You had some specific things. I remember him just like waving his hand,
Oh, yeah.
and the next thing you knew, there was a train going out to the airport.
Really?
That's how I remember
Wow.
the airport thing. He just came in and just said, you should do this."
Yep.
I don't know what he did, but that's how I remember that happening. He got involved, even out of office, or
Yeah.
he just influential.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that was kind of interesting. He was quite a leader. You know, he was born and raised here, so to speak, and and he went to school here and made a lot of friends, made a lot of millionaires too, by the way.
Oh, okay.
He made a lot of millionaires.
All
a lot
right.
of folks benefited from Neil Goldsmith aspect of it.
Okay.
And he's still here today, but he did a lot of things to this city and to this state in many ways. And you know, he went from there. He went to he was let's see, he was Secretary of Transportation.
That's right.
Yeah, he
That's
was
right.
Secretary of Transportation. He came back and ran for governor. Remember that one?
Yeah.
He ran for governor, but he was mayor here for quite some time, and you know, but he's still here. But he had quite an impact on this state,
Absolutely.
this city,
Yeah.
and a lot of things that, you know. So that's a good thing. And we've had some real neat folks, and I'm still looking forward to you know, in all due respect, I hope this young Wheeler can really. He's living in a very progressive time right now. He's a tough time.
Well, you're up against protesters.
Oh
Yeah.
my God! But you know, this is not unfortunately, this is not an on-the-job training. This is not a OJT.
That's right.
Deal when you get in this deal, you almost have to have background.
And you got to know
Very
what
much
to
so.
do.
You got to know what to do, and this is a 24/7. This is
right.
not about 8-hour job. This is 24 hours a day, and trying to raise a family and at the same time doing this job is not an easy task.
That's right.
I mean, I can. Well, you know where I'm coming from. When we were in the military, it was hard to try to raise a family while you were in the military.
You had,
That's not an easy
not
deal.
possible.
And a lot of folks, a lot of those guys just basically had divorce. By the time you get through the third divorce and you got someone, you're at an age, you know, that's it. It's over.
You just didn't have that
See what I'm
much.
saying? You got me? But no, still think we live in the Pacific Northwest. It's still a beautiful city, but we got some issues. We got to take care of that homeless situation. That has to be taken care of, big time.
That's right.
The education situation, we got to take care of that big time. We got to take care of the whole issue with this divide between police and aspect of it. And I would hope that people understand they're not policemen, they're law enforcement officers.
Okay.
They're
Okay.
law enforcement officers. Okay? The policies that we the people generate, and then we put that together, we hire someone to basically implement that policy.
Okay.
You got me? We're the one that did, but we hire someone through the election process.
Okay.
So that's the other thing we may have to clean up. But my point is that it's just sitting there, right there. So I think the perception that the police is basically running the city is something that it still tears into us. But we need to really look at it from the standpoint they're law enforcement officers. We got to reinforce the position of the leadership that we hired, and that's the elected leadership.
Yeah, it's too bad the police chief is up in the air so much.
Oh, that's going to be a toughie. It's a toughie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because still that perception is that the police is running the police is running the city, and that should be taken out of it. I dump the word police and use law enforcement.
That's
it.
fine.
Does that make sense?
That's absolutely.
See what I'm saying?
That's
and the
right.
mayor has to take the position that he is an employee of ours, the
Right.
city. Got me? And it's his job to run these other employees that are working under him,
Okay.
including the council, right? You get me? Because he really runs all the bureaus, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And he can't do it by himself.
Right.
And we may want to even consider districtizing the city.
Okay.
See, that's the other thing. Everybody has to run throughout the whole city. And unless you have the money, you can't. They need someone that will be responsible. Southeast Portland, in that area. They're over here, this area, southeast, northeast, that kind of a deal. But have a city council person in each one of those areas. Then you know who to go to.
That's right. We don't know who's for us.
And then,
do we?
it falls all on the mayor. You got me? And
Okay.
then he doesn't understand why he's getting so many problems. That's the problem. The man is overworked. He can't do it all.
That's why I say I'm glad they leave the Bureau of Housing with one of them, the
Yep.
Water Bureau with
Yep.
another, police.
Yep.
Just so they don't have other cities. Mayor has to be in control of everything.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And I think about city managers aspect of it, but anyway, just from a layman's standpoint, especially today, no one person can run anything.
Right.
Can't do it. It's too
That's right.
overwhelming. You got
Okay.
me? Okay.
Well,
So,
okay, so
I say
who are
no
you
to the bond.
suggesting?
I'm just saying. First, I'm saying no to the bond. They got to bring it back to the
Okay, all right.
I'm saying a no vote on the
Fine.
bond, and I gave you my rationale for that piece. It's just too much money in the
Our
construction.
voice doesn't get heard for that question.
Yes, it does.
All the others.
No, I hear
voice-
yours and you hear mine, so we're okay.
Over here.
We got
yes,
our vote. You know what I'm
okay.
saying? And then as far as the school board, I'm looking for responsible people. I looked at the whole batch, if you will, and it's going to be a tough job. I like the idea that Brim is going to be there. She's been there before, and she's
Yeah.
going to be there, and that's good. And she's got Nike behind her, and that makes it even better. You know what I mean? That's where
How
she
does
worked.
that-
She worked as an administrator. That's all.
Oh.
The point is that
okay.
as an employee.
Oh, you
know what I
mean just okay?
Yeah, because she's been in that corporate arena. You got me?
Right.
And
right.
but she brings a whole different air to the program, and we need someone like that on the board, and we need someone to deal with the whole issue of poor kids and this, that, and the other, and then that's where Rita comes in. I mean, and I'm taking Steve Buell's position because Steve has been on here. We know more about the public schools through him, and he had a fight to try to get his votes and this, that, and the other, i.e. to deal with those issues. And there are some other issues there that he still felt that he hasn't resolved.
Yeah.
But Rita's going to take, as I understand it, and I've talked with her, and vice versa with Steve, she's going to take the baton and continue the fight.
Okay.
You know? And hopefully there will be, excuse the French, maybe next time around, maybe this Jamia, with all due respect, will respectfully understand when you're in politics, and even if a small media person call you, please return the call.
Yeah,
You got me?
that's right.
Because all I was going to do was interview her in a very effective way from the standpoint of educating the people about her qualification for Portland Public Schools. Just like we talked
Okay,
about voc ed and this,
that's
that, and the
right.
other.
That's what we
and if
want.
she didn't know, I would have educated her. Yeah, see what I'm saying? So I still say that, hey, just hang in there and catch it the next round. Now, if she gets elected, I want her to remember this show.
Okay.
When it gets too tough, don't leave.
Okay.
I want you to know you're going to have a hard. I would suggest very strongly you contact Steve Buell. You spend some time with him a little bit more. Get some good background. I heard some things about from the standpoint he, to a certain degree, she didn't want to relate to him either. See, so it's not about not relating to people. You got a job to do. You got a lot of kids out there that are hurting and struggling to try to graduate. And you happen to have a black face, and people are expecting you to deal with the whole black issues.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? You got me? And that's a fact. It's not about, well, I'm dealing with all kids. No. Even I recognize that about myself.
Okay.
I'm not going to ignore where I'm from. You got me? You can't do that.
Okay, right.
If I'm Irish, or if I'm Italian, or if I'm Asian, or whatever, you can't ignore those kinds of things. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But we're all Americans, right?
That's right.
That's what it's all about. I made my say. You've given me the
Here's,
opportunity this hour.
My ballot.
Yes.
So, and
I'll be putting
I
mine
better
together
get it
now.
in right about now.
You got to get it in now. You got to get it in now. You got to get it in now. There's a couple other
Election day is probably this Tuesday.
Yep, 15. There's a one on the about the auditor being more independent. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the audit. That's a good one.
Any recommendation
I would
there?
suggest very strongly that you go with that one. I like that. That's good.
Okay.
She's
okay.
going to be that particular position is going to pay, and at the same time they're going to make sure they audit the work of the city council. Very important.
Oh.
Whether it be the police bureau, housing bureau, the whole nine, this, that, and the other. And it's unfortunate we're not going to have a superintendent. Remember that we didn't talk about that.
Yeah,
that's a very important
that
situation. But now we're not going to have a superintendent for quite some time.
They're trying to calm down on that
yeah,
so that they can do it right.
They got a lot of problems.
Right.
So that's why I say it's going to be very important to pick the right people for that board.
Okay. Well, I think we've covered what we've tried to cover, and done a good job about it. I know one thing. I want to thank our crew.
Yes. Oh, our crew's awesome. In fact, I understand our chief person in the room over there looking at running for office. I think he's a very neat guy. I think I'd recommend him with anybody. Trust me. He's a good guy. I would introduce him right now, but I don't want him to get into the mix right now because he's mayoral kind of a material.
Oh, okay.
He's mayoral material.
Kind of like you. You would know about that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yes. Yeah, I'm just a front person, but he's the guy. You know, we're gonna talk to him a little bit about that.
30 seconds.
See, there he goes already.
Okay. Well,
Good. Thank you very much. Well, anyway, this has been great.
That's right.
This has been fantastic. Please get out and vote. That's the other thing, too.
20 seconds.
Please vote. Turn your ballots in.
Right.
Regardless of who you're going to vote for someone. Read the material. You got the voters pamphlet to get some more background.
Is that this Tuesday?
That's right. There you go. May the 16th. May 16th.
That's Tuesday.
So please get out there, get your ballot, and vote. Read it.